wants to go over it at one point.
Oh, cool. You've got all of the mod cons going on, Carlos. This is amazing.
Let's see. Okay, that's it. We're both live on IG and YouTube. So once again, Neil, Christy, thank you for being here. This is part of the Expansive Art Live conversations revolving around ceremony and different artistic expressions and ways of life, and how this interweave and expand each other. So the intention for today is to share a bit about the use of the voice and how the voice has become a vessel for the spirit in ceremony, and how ceremony has allowed us to expand the use of the voice. And all of this is part also of this series of live conversations around expansive art, which is a live training we do for people who want to learn how to facilitate ceremonies. And we're doing this with all these beautiful, amazing students. So today we have Neil, Christy, which we met live. We then met in person, which was really cool to then see each other in person. And then, I mean, for us, it has been always a pleasure being with you. You have this amazing energy, this radiant presence. Your voice is amazing, brother. That's why I chose you for today. And also, he's a sound therapist and a lot of things. And so I'm Carlos from Into a Family. Michelle is taking care of our baby Arum. And Neil, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hello, my name's Neil, and it's amazing to be here sharing this with you, Carlos. And I do have to say that the training with Intua for the cacao ceremony facilitation was much more than I actually had bargained for. When I joined in, it was on the recommendation of Pauline, who's there. Wave to Pauline. And I wasn't expecting to use quite so much of my human nature during the training itself, to be able to express myself through facilitation in so many ways. And in fact, it was that facilitation that helped me just to step forward and begin to use my voice so much, as you say, as a vessel for spirit to work through with the groups and the guests who come to the ceremonies. It was beautiful. And also learning the medicine songs with you and Michelle during the sessions. I actually remember I was on holiday for some of the sessions in Ibiza and just catching up on my friend's terrace, singing along, rattling, with a rattle and some headphones on, people thinking, who's this crazy guy who's on holiday singing on a balcony, with no drinks or anything. Yes, that was always me. And I'm sure it's many other people, because we often feel that, we don't have permission to do things, creative things. We often feel we don't have permission to do these creative things without having had a training or have a certificate in being able to sing, or done a course in being able to play a drum. It's not the case. Give yourself the permission to do all of these wonderful creative things, singing outside in public, using a drum, pick up a rattle. You just need to let your body express through those instruments, and spirit will do the rest.
Wow. Yeah, amazing. And that's exactly what our mission is. The logo of our project is Intua, the art of being, el arte de ser. And it's about just reminding people that they already are art, that they can express art just by allowing themselves to be. When we're all children and we're seeing this with our baby, it's like everything is an expression. Everything is like creation, exploration, fun, playfulness. And sometimes as adults, we kind of forget a bit about this, and it becomes about, how do you say, like performing. You have to perform at a standard level, what everyone is expecting you to do. And if you don't reach there, it's like, you better shut up, no? And that happened to me a lot when I was even still a kid. I was like, oh, you don't sing, shut up. You don't know how to sing, shut up, shut up, shut up. I received so many shut ups on my life that it took years of untangling to get rid of that,
Oh, that gives me such a flush down my crown and through my spine hearing you say that, actually, because I had a similar thing through my life. You know, when I was very young, about 8 years old, I joined the choir in primary school, and I was thrown out of the choir. You know, they told me not to come back because I couldn't sing, and they said, come back another time. But incredibly, it just didn't stop me pursuing expression, particularly through sound and music. I left primary school, and then when I went to the next school, I was always involved in the school productions. I kept on, I had this need to express. And when you're growing up, you do get ways to express yourself through lessons, and you do get to express yourself through performances. And gradually, I eventually went to theatre school and spent 3 years training with dance and voice and acting as well, which for me was just amazing. But I didn't pursue performance in that respect, in theatrical performance. I've never really connected with all of the creative aspects of life and humanity until I decided to connect with it through a journey of conscious spiritual progress and development. So that's where I really, really understood the purpose of the voice, understood the purpose of dance and movement. I also understood the purpose of ceremony and the purpose of discipline, actually, through spirituality, because that's where I got the most benefit from any of those things when I decided to use them on a spiritual progress, a spiritual path.
Very important point, and it's something that I always remind people when we do the Sacred Voice Retreat over here in our house, that music was first used as a sacral instrument. In all of the cultures, in all of history, art was first sacral, and then it became something for the people, for entertainment. But it was understood from the first time that sound vibration was created consciously, that wow, this has an immense potential to shift consciousness and to make us feel emotions and to connect people and to connect with nature, and so much powerful things that happen when we allow ourselves to become a vessel, allow our voice to express what is around and within.
Yeah, absolutely. And you just have to know what kind of music you want to listen to and how that changes you. So when you listen to music, you actually change your consciousness. And that's any music. You know, you can listen to the music on the radio, or you can listen to music that's been designed to put you in a different frame of mind. But there's listening to the music actively and with mindfulness, but then there's also listening to your own music, which you were brought here on this planet to produce and create. That's something that not a lot of people are given the opportunity to express. And when you do go through a training and you are presented with chants or mantras to work with yourself, that's when you begin to listen to the divinity that's in yourself, and how your own voice and your own sounds, how your own movement works as a channel to express sacredness and to express spirit. So when you do, like you say, when you do listen, and my first experience of really actively listening to myself was when I was learning Mongolian Hume singing with a wonderful teacher called Michael Ormiston. And now that type of singing is also what you know as overtone singing. And it's using the voice and using the muscles in the body as a filter to create 2 notes or 3 notes even at the same time. And when you start to listen to yourself doing that, you listen to your own voice first, because the fundamental part of that training is to hear your own overtones and to believe that you are making that sound. Because actually we make overtones, we make magical sounds with our voices all the time. There are voice signatures. Every time you break silence with the voice and make a sound, it's filled with information about who you are, how you're feeling. It's about your health. It's filled with information about spirit. And as humans, we add words to those vibrations because we, on the grounded level, we need to get along and we need to communicate with each other using language. But aside from language, within the voice and within every sound we make is carried a beautiful divine package of light, of vibration, which touches everybody around us. And when we're using the voice in ceremony, it's so important to listen to ourselves when we use the voice, because that's what makes that moment, for me, it makes it sacred. The moment becomes sacred as soon as you listen to what's happening within and how that's changing you within and noticing that.
And you said a very important aspect about the uniqueness, because each voice, as you mentioned, is unique, and it's something that I love people's faces when I show them for the first time, like a spectrum analyzer, like a frequency analyzer of their voice. And what you said, everyone has a lot of overtones. Like they sing and it's like, wow, there's 40, 50 overtones, and it goes up until infinity because we cannot even hear them anymore, but they're there. Even the machine cannot read them, but they're still there. And just realizing that each one of those is a frequency, is a vibration that we are creating just by singing one note.
Exactly.
And then these techniques to just kind of like amplify one of these overtones, and it makes it more hearable. But the thing is, they're always there, and the uniqueness of the voice, that's how even like this technology of voice printing, just like fingerprinting exists, there's a technology for voice printing, because each voice is totally unique. So it has a timbre that no one else has. Each person has a timbre that is totally unique. So it's an information that, like you said, like a spiritual information that can only be transmitted through this voice. So the importance of respecting and encouraging and listening, first to ourselves, but also in a circle, very important to hear to other people's voices. And the beauty for us, one of the most beautiful parts of our ceremonial training is listening to other people sing. When we invite other people, now it's your time to sing, for us it's such a joy. And it's not about, they sing in the correct key, or they make a perfect melody on the scale or whatever. It's about the emotion, the spirit that comes through that voice. And sometimes it can be something very, very, let's say, simple, like a single note or a very simple melody. But when that it's imbued with this intention, wow, it becomes very powerful, very magical.
And also for me, every note is another ether, is another realm of existence. So if you look into the voice as a microcosm for the actual planes of existence that are there, we've got, traditionally in Western music, we're divided into 7 notes, and the 8th note is the octave, which makes the trio. And also there are so many different things about the number 7 chakras, 7 sacred languages, 7 is everywhere. So in terms of realms of consciousness, to me, every note does have a different realm of consciousness. However, you don't necessarily have to sing a different note to reach it. You can, again, this becomes like the rabbit hole. You can delve into the one note. You can use one note and you can express many layers and many emotions, many intentions, but not just express them, also explore them. So you can use the voice to sing one note one day in ceremony, light a candle, and put some time aside to be with your voice. I would actually recommend the mantra Om to work with, because to think about the mantra Om, it's an expression of the creation, the sustaining, and the transformation of all things. So if you use the mantra Om, but really use it so slowly, and inspect and find every single piece of information or every different body feeling that you get whilst you're chanting that mantra. And it doesn't matter if you can only sing it for 3 seconds or tone it for 3 seconds, or if you can do it for a minute. Either way, the work is in noticing what you can find within each section of it. For example, Om has the O, and then the ooh. And then when you get to the M of Om, you're actually taking it all into your body because you close your lips. And then there becomes, for me, a magical dialogue between my intention, what I want to do, vibration, also the potential of silence, because essentially when I make a sound, I'm breaking silence. I'm interfering with what I deem the cosmic mother's great resource, which is silence. And I'm doing that for a purpose. I'm doing that to explore and to express with the vowels. So with the, again, with the O, and you can even play with it with that sound. You can try it on any note. Sometimes it's easier for people to use a lower note. This is also incidentally great for nitric oxide, which builds up when you do long humming sessions, and it's the feel-good molecule which goes around your blood cells and makes you feel absolutely awesome. So humming makes you feel bloody great as well. Any kind of toning makes you feel amazing. And that's when we go into a ceremony, a cacao ceremony. We've taken in the beautiful powers of cacao, the fruit of cacao, and we want to infuse all of our body with cacao. If we give ourselves a vibration, a chant of anything, that's actually opening our body up and our tiny cells and our big cells to absorb that absolutely amazing vibration of cacao. And I did have a gorgeous cup of cacao before doing this, so I'm feeling very loved up with that. So that's one exercise that you can do to explore your own sound and the nature of your own voice. And it is a meditation. So it is something that perhaps you want to try with any meditation practice that you do, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes or longer. You know, you can chant for hours, as many people know.
Beautiful. I also had, well, I didn't drink cacao, but I did chocolates today. Today was chocolate making day in the morning. I had to do it early in the morning because in here it reaches like 40 degrees Celsius during the day. So it's impossible. Everything melts, no?
Oh, we had that in England last week on Monday and Tuesday. It was absolutely boiling. We're not used to it. And I've got some packets of cacao out of, not in a cupboard, and I'm like, they melted. I'm like, what do I do with them?
No, yeah, we have to be careful with cacao because over 30 something, 35, it starts to melt no matter where it is.
And once it hasn't completely melted, but is it still usable if it's melted a little bit?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, that's good.
Unless it goes over 53, 54 Celsius, it's where it starts to a little bit burn. Yeah. Below that temperature, it's completely usable.
Oh, that's good to know.
It just brings back to the shape.
Yeah.
So below 20, if it's already melted below 25, 24 degrees, it starts to again become solid. So depending on how it was tempered, but that's another subject.
Yeah.
Chocolate making is another subject.
No,
I
it's
think
what we're here.
we might do
Chocolate
one of
brought us
those.
together.
Yeah, no, of course. And now that I think about it, we might do a live conversation about chocolate making, because we love, that's how we started with the cacao journey. I started making
And
chocolates.
the
13 years ago,
the transformational process of chocolate, it always fascinates me. And I love telling people about it in the shop when they're buying it. I'm like, this is the spirit of the chocolate that you normally eat, explaining to them how pure and how amazing and how much of a whole food that is. It's, it doesn't get to that separation process where the butter's taken out, and that's just magical when you tell people that this is the gold, this is the food of the gods here. You can have some. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love talking about. Well, it's one of the subjects that we touch very deeply upon on the training.
We could even chant cacao. That's an amazing word to chant. You could even go really wild with cacao, because the ka sound is a big power vowel. If you think about ka, you can really, then you can do a bit of a shout out after you use the syllable ka. And that's why that syllable was created, as the power to go behind something. Ka, ka, you can do it gently. But if you do a big ka, and then I turn into Shirley Bassey all of a sudden. But still, you can understand how even the vibration of the word cacao is a powerful vibration, really, to use with the voice. Ka, 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 ka. And the ow is a beautiful way to work with the voice. That it's a diphthong. It's two vowels. It's ow, cacao. And notice when you're listening to yourself say cacao, you can do it for people, or you can do it by yourself. Just play with it. Be a child and play with cacao. 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 Just to use the voice like that. So that could be also used as a mantra, cacao, cacao. When you use that as a mantra, you're invoking the spirit of cacao. It's a completely sacred way to use a word, is to use a word as a mantra. So if you're trying to invoke the spirit of something and you use its name, the name of it is cacao. The use of it is divine food, the food of the gods, right? When you use that word cacao in a mindful and sacred way, you are invoking the entire history, the entire ancestry of cacao into a vibration, into your body, and that is then permeating all through every single layer of your existence. So when you use words, people talk about being very careful with your words, being impeccable with your word. One of the 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz is be impeccable with your word, because actually the words you use, they don't end once they come out of your mouth. They become vibration, and vibration has to transform into something else, because a vibration doesn't end, it doesn't die. Vibration always becomes something else once it comes out. Therefore, every word you do speak is a vibration which will transform into something else. So it will transform into feeling, mostly. If when you speak to another person, it affects them and it turns into their feeling, they carry that feeling with them. That feeling then turns into an action that they might carry out. So if you've given good words and you've given good vibrations and you've created beautiful feelings through your words in somebody, then that again, like vibration, transfers into their feeling, and it transfers into their actions through the day. So words are sacred, definitely. So the voice creates those words.
And especially in that, like we said, that ceremonial context where people are open, they're receptive. Cacao makes us even more sensitive to everything that is going around us and within us. And even though it's one of the most subtle plant medicines there are, it still brings a lot of emotion, and it still makes us very sensitive to sound, to the movement, to the intention that we're carrying within us and that is flowing around the group. And so what I wanted to ask you is, I mean, you talked about how you sing since you were a little kid, and then through theatrical school, you learned how to, project and use it in a way that it's more for artistic expression. And can you share a bit about your ceremonial experience? When was the first time that you started maybe doing ceremonies or receiving, or going through this process of incorporating the voice into this practice, more than a spiritual practice, let's say in a ceremonial context where you're in a circle and with people and all this kind of ritual, let's say?
Yes, definitely. So the initial state, my using the voice as a spiritual instrument began for me when I was in a meditation center. I joined a meditation center called the Sri Chinmoy Center. And at that time, I was looking to reconnect with my soul and spirit. And I ended up on a beautiful spiritual journey there. And during the meditation sessions, chanting and singing was a huge part of it. And funnily enough, just before I went to find a meditation school, I had this dream. And in the dream, there was a lady in the night sky. She didn't tell me her name, but she was swishing her hand through the cosmos in an incredible way. And she whispered a mantra to me, which was Om Aparajitaya Nama. He can come in now. And then I woke up. And I was trying to remember the mantra. I was like, oh, it was amazing. Like, it's the first time anything as profound as that has happened to me. Then I went to a meditation class, a sample meditation class, and there was a group. There was a male band called Ananda who were singing, and they opened up the ceremony with lots of singing and lots of vocals. And at the end, they invited everybody to join in with a chant. And the chant was Om Aparajitaya Nama. Om Aparajitaya Nama. Om Aparajitaya Nama. And of course, I couldn't believe it. Wow. I couldn't believe it, because that was the mantra that, the queen of space and time, the mother of all that is, said to me. So that's when I joined the meditation center there. And when I was there, that was my favorite song. I told everybody, it was the most exciting thing to tell everybody about that. But that mantra is a Sanskrit mantra, and the meaning is, I bow to the one who is eternally unconquerable. And so twice a week for years, even longer, I would go to that meditation center, and we'd use that before the meditation in the ceremony. And then as a facilitator, when I didn't really connect with my voice actually for a little while. I took another break from using my voice. I trained as a gong practitioner with Sheila Whitaker in Devon, and I was using the gongs and I was using Himalayan bowls to create the sacred space and draw all of that in. And then Pauline O'Grady, who might still be there, she came along, and I gave her a taster session before we were going to do a cacao ceremony together. And I was just drawn to play the crystal balls and just to open my mouth and start to sing. And there were no words. It was just complete. It was vowel sounds. It was the first time I would say that I was channeling sounds and channeling information and channeling light and love through the voice to her. And that went on for 10 minutes. And then she said, Neil, you have to do that during your gong baths. I said, oh, really? I don't know what it is about having things witnessed that makes us realize that that's what we should do. But I'm so grateful for that moment, because after that, after, you know, it was witnessed by someone, I then went to do it during my gong baths. And now at the end of every gong bath, I do at least 10 minutes of vocalizing, just channeling, improvising, letting it happen. And I finish it thinking, wow, who was singing? Who was that? You know, I finish it and I always say to myself, wow, what was that? And people say to me, oh, wow, your voice was amazing. And I can never take ownership of it. You know, if I'm in the street and I'm singing some songs and showing off, I can take ownership for it. But when I do a ceremony, I just can't take ownership for the effect of the voice that comes through. Yeah.
So that was your first time with Pauline then?
Yeah, that's when it was really for facilitation and for giving it out in a ceremonial space. And then, of course, I came to join your course, and it was like freedom. It was like being in a playground. I then realized, you know, you can express anything during these training sessions. Yeah. Anything kind of goes. And that was lovely. And that gave me the formulation to bring it all into the ceremonial space as well.
That's super important, because we believe that sometimes during this training courses, or where people are giving information or tools to learn to facilitate, that is something that we are very into, for people to learn that, let's say, the proper tools to learn to facilitate, but at the same time it's completely you. There's not an archetype that you have to be. There's not like a personification that you have to, something that you have to impersonate for you to become a facilitator. It's more about how your uniqueness, your own way of expression, the art that you already have and use for yourself as a healing tool. How do you put that into the vessel of a ceremony with all the tools and understanding that is behind that, understanding the elementals, understanding the process, understanding the dosage, understanding a lot of stuff, for you to use that you are already, let's say, that is already in you, that is already embodied in you, using that, but not becoming someone else, not trying to speak like someone else, which I think is, in the modern day, there is a little bit of that, like trying to replicate someone else's way of moving, of talking, or speaking, or singing.
Authenticity. It's a mark of, you know, authenticity, and finding everything that you do, everything that you are, to be able to express it and see it in other people as well. That's authenticity. Yes. When you can see the things that you see and feel and believe, you can see them in other people, regardless of who they are. That's also, you know, a truth. For me, it's not a truth, and it's also not an authenticity unless you can see it in everybody. You know, when you do your training, if you can share something and then everybody can do it, and everybody can also express, not do it the same as you, but go for the expression of it. And the expression of it is the truth and the authenticity. The outcome, the product of it, you know, it's not necessarily the outcome of the expression. The intention for the expression is the authenticity. That's
why we don't like to give blueprints. We like to give, you know, tools, but at the end of the day, it's like a house. Like every architect, if they're given the same plot of land and the same tools, everyone's going to create a different house. But at the same time, you need to learn how to use the tools. But at the end, is your creation. Is you know, that the own expression of your own soul, which is totally different from the other architects, no? So it's exactly the same thing. Yeah,
it's true. And I think so often on the path of spiritual development, you can feel that you need to really push your own personality to the side. And I did that for a long time. I did that, and I benefited in the end, in hindsight, by being able to see that that's not the way. To push your own personality and your own beauty aside is not the way to truly have an authentic spiritual development. When I started to embrace all of the things that I was before I made that first step on the spiritual path, bring them all back in and realize that they're all divine and they're all of use and they're all beautiful and all incredible parts of the self, the whole personality then begins to express itself in a divine way purely. And that's when you enjoy things, and that's when you have true fun and true enjoyment. There is a time and a place for discipline and for boxing things up, but when it comes to bringing everything together, to having the whole package of life, it's about really embracing your personality in that divine and true way, you know.
Totally. And I speaking about fun, I was just coming back to that that ceremony that we did together with Maya, who's also here.
Hi Maya.
And just how I loved how everyone just did their part in their very unique way. And at the same time, it co-created a sphere of uniqueness, that at the end, everyone, you know, when everyone was dancing and laughing, and it just we became an invitation for that, which is exactly the purpose that we're always reaching for, becoming an invitation for people to just be their own, the best version of themselves, which is the most unique version of themselves, when they are allowed to be free and you know, playful and childlike, kind of, in a way, you know.
Exactly. It's good to have fun and it's good to laugh. You know, laughter is one of the most incredible uses of the voice. When you laugh, it actually moves the mind into a completely different space altogether, and it's almost like a full stop to any stress that the mind brings you. When you laugh, laughter is the full stop to a sentence of stress, and it really lets you move away from it. You have to be able to laugh right then and there to move away from the stress of a situation. The moment you laugh about something is the moment when you're able to step away and not be that tense or difficult moment. If you can just step aside and laugh, it's so important.
It happens a lot with my baby when he's sometimes like, you know, very intense and this emotion, and instead of getting frustrated, sometimes I just laugh. Like I laugh at the intensity of the situation, you know? And he just stops and looks at me like, what are you doing? Why are you laughing? And he stops, you know, whatever he's going through, this emotional crisis, where he stops and he just looks at me, and I keep laughing, and he just keeps looking like, okay, this is different, no? Like something changed within him. Well, when he heard the laugh. It's I forgot the word in English, but it's like infectious, no? Laughter is infectious.
Definitely. And during ceremony, laughter can be an absolutely incredible tool to use during ceremony. Laughter during ceremony is just precious, you know. If you invite laughter in, or even if you see somebody on the verge of laughter, because, you know, we can do some pretty crazy things during a ceremony. And if it's your first time in the ceremony, you might want to laugh, but I just let them laugh. I said, please do laugh, because, you know, I appreciate that. You know, if it's your first time and your response is laughter, then I completely encourage and accept the laughter that you have, because it's a beautiful energy to add to anything. And that's with the voice again, you know, it's an amazing tool.
Yeah, we've had some very funny and at the same time impressive experiences where everyone's lying down, kind of like in Shavasana, and then someone bursts into laughter and everyone's laughing. but on the other side as well, like someone bursts into tears and then everyone bursts into tears. And it's impressive, like you said, like vibration doesn't stop there, you know, it doesn't stop on the sound. The sound carries. Sound is basically like a compression and decompression of particles. So they reach another particles, which we're all made of particles, and those particles compress and decompress. And I'm going very mechanical here, but at the same time, we can like translate that into emotion. Like emotion compresses and decompresses into space, and we receive that emotion, and we also move through that emotion. So for me, it's been very literal how this affects. Also, we give cacao ceremonies, but we also give mushroom ceremonies, and during these sessions, the voice, when it's like you said, it's not me who's singing, it's me as a vessel, as a channel for something that maybe someone is going through. Some sounds come out that I don't even know what they are, where they come from, why are they happening. You know, there's no prefixation on melody or form or whatever, it just moves. And it's impressive how feelings get moved in the circle without us even being, you know, conscious of doing. We're conscious of doing it, but we're not conscious about doing it. No, about like the pre.
Exactly.
The thing that comes before it, we're not aware. But the thing that is happening during that sound being propagated is impressive. Sometimes I even start crying while singing because that which is going through my voice, it starts affecting my emotion as well. Like it gets into my emotion and my voice breaks up, but at the same time it continues, and it kind of becomes like a, you know, a mixture between crying and singing, like a cringing.
Cringing. I'm cringing. And we're gonna have a cringing session, crying through singing, and oh wow, a cringing session. That's beautiful. How hilarious.
The voice is, for me personally, I mean, we are touching about this different aspects during these live conversations, and obviously sound made by other instruments is very powerful as well, but for me the voice is the most powerful tool there is. And there's a reason, like we say in the training, that in all shamanic traditions, the voice is the vessel. The voice is the main instrument, the main the main vessel for carrying an intention, for carrying an energy into a person, maybe in a one-on-one session, or into a whole group.
Absolutely.
And it's the way us as humans, you know, connect from this very airy cosmic part of ourselves down to our body. This is the bridge. The voice is the bridge for allowing the body to express, but also allowing the cosmic energy to express. So it's, for me, it's the union, this wings of, you know, propagation of this intention.
Yeah, I feel that 100%. And also where you mentioned becoming the observer of yourself, you know, you said when you're channeling that, you also come back and observe yourself and start to cry whilst it's still happening. That's pure flow. That's beautiful, pure flow happening there. Amazing.
And sometimes laughter has happened as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's more about laughing at ourselves. Like we know we're messing up, or we're going through too mindy, you know, like, oh, I forgot the lyrics, and I'm going too mindy here. And it's just laughter breaks that, and it just brings it into a place of spontaneity and, you know, just being light. You know, lightness is important. And I think what we talked in the training as well, like when we're creating a ceremony, it's not just a flat movement. Emotions are not flat, life is not flat. So we're going through all these waves, and then sometimes in these very deep waves we touch these very deep rooted emotions, but at the same time we also have to at one point come out of that and become light. And it's you know, the unity between the serpent and the eagle.
That's
to go down and touch the floor and touch the raw, deep, you know, messy parts, but then we have to fly as well. to see the other side, to see it in a broader view in a way.
Yeah, really cool. I'm inspired to play something. I'm inspired now, Carlos, to do something. I've got my harmonium already on my knee. And so I invite you to listen mindfully. So make this sacred in whichever way you want. So you can listen in, you can tune in, you can join in. I really encourage you to join in with your own voice. I'm just going to play like a fifth on the harmonium, and the fifth is perfection in the scale. So you got 1 to 5, and then you go to 8. It's the middle note with the bass note, and it's a interval of what would be considered perfection. Like, I'm not perfect, but the interval is okay. I'm just playing that, the harmonium's playing it. And whilst I'm listening to that, I'm just going to feel into my body. So I'll invite you to do the same. So begin by breathing through the nose, which brings us into a relaxed and calm state. Just breathe gently and softly through the nose. And begin to notice what's happening in the body as you hear the interval, the fifth, the harmony that's coming through. If you can visualize the sound, then visualize it. And just become one with that sound. Become one with the sound. And whenever you're ready, express your oneness with that sound using your voice. The sound of love from the heart, from the heart, the sound of love from the heart. From the heart, from the heart, the sound of love will shine of love, of love, of love. our love.
Thank you, brother.
Mm.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing yourself so powerfully and authentically and lovingly. I love it.
I was still there in love. It just love came through, definitely. Sometimes it's peace and it can be any quality, but there was definitely a huge love to be shared there. And I hope everybody else managed to connect and express that.
And it's that the most powerful tool for changing our emotional state, at least for me, is that just toning and allowing the voice to reach into these different streams, travel away and then back, touch with the emotion, then go back, go away, you know, it's to expand, then reach into that higher information to bring it back down and then down up, and it's kind of like this.
From the Akasha, from the realms, from the ethers comes through, just divine connection. And you know, we've touched on it a few times. It always exists. It is always there for us to access and touch upon. All we have to do is be still and allow that part of us to shine. Be still and shine.
Well, what else can I say, my brother?
Oh, thank you.
Such a pleasure. Thank you for being here, for sharing your time, your passion, your voice. For whoever's listening, follow Neil. I also wanted to say I've been listening to the album you gifted us, The Tree of Cups.
Yeah, thank
beautiful,
you.
Beautiful, beautiful. It's like every time I go in the highway, I put it, and it's just like allows me to float there back home and away and back home.
Oh, you driving to it, Carlos. Be careful where you're driving to.
Oh no, I'm very used to driving with calm music. Don't worry.
Good, very good. Oh, thank you so much, and thank you for listening to that.
I need to change it. You know, the thing is, I need to rip it from CD because it's the only CD player I have is in my car, so that's why I listen to it in the car.
Oh,
so I need to rip it to you know, to an MP3 or something and listen to it on my headphones and my
my friend Sally Craddock and I recorded that whilst we were having a wonderful connection with Cacao, and we just recorded it in a studio. All of the material on the album we recorded in about 3 hours, and then the process of putting it together and having her husband Steve Craddock produce it took a longer time, but the information on there was just from a beautiful session of allowing whatever needed to come through onto the album come through. It was such a lovely experience. Amazing. And it is only on CD at the moment, so we're still working on sharing it on Spotify or maybe even sharing it on YouTube or something to get
please do so. More people need to hear this. Well, thanks again, and for whoever's listening, if you're interested into delving deeper into ceremony, into cacao, into some different tools that we've been kind of like touching upon here, but obviously today's most important one is the voice, and reminding you that it's only that, allowing the tools for you to express that which you already are, the channel that you already have, the voice that is so powerfully healing if you allow it to be. So we have the next live training starting on August the 15th. So it's only 2 weeks from now. Whoever's interested, please.
Do it. Sign up.
Yeah.
Do it. It's great. Really beautiful. Join it. Join that training.
Thank you, Neil.
Join
it was
the
a great
training.
pleasure, yeah, having you
Yeah.
there. And the most beautiful thing is we learn from all of you as well.
Yeah.
And for me, the most impact that I've had as a teacher, let's say in the last 12 years that I've been teaching different things, is learning so much from the people that attend these trainings, and just the satisfaction of giving, everything that we know. For us, that the most important thing about knowledge is sharing knowledge. If you don't share it, then it's basically worth nothing. So,
and the knowledge that you have, the ancient knowledge that you actually have and you practice, is a huge lesson to everybody on the course there, because we learn so much about the cacao, the Mexican ceremonies, all of the Mayan and Oltec wisdom that you give us, all of the worksheets, everything's in there, and it's real food and juice for the imagination and for creativity and expansion. So it's really awesome. The whole package of that course was just beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil.
Yeah.
So thanks everyone for joining us. Thank you, Neil, again. And this will stay posted on our feed, but especially on the YouTube channel. If you don't know what it is, it's Intua, just like the name on top there. For those of you who are in Instagram Live, you can find our YouTube channel. We're trying to give it more and more love, because what we want is just to share more and more.
Yeah.
And well, that's it.
And
Tomorrow
if you want to
we'll
connect with me, you can connect with me through Instagram, The Gong Room. It's me. You can send me direct messages. There's also a list of the events that I've got coming up in London in the link on my bio. I'd love to hear from you all as well. So if anybody wants to connect in London.
Everyone would love to hear you as well.
Thank you so much, brother.
Thank you.
Big love, and kisses to Michelle and the baby as well.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, have a good night now.
Okay, bye.